Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Josh. I'm going to be your presenter today. Recurring transactions. This is in accounting, of course, all right? You can also find information in the Church Windows help files on it too, right? So if I'm going into help up here and assuming my help page opens, I can just go right here and just put in recurring. And I think those, if I click search here, yeah, recurring accounting transactions. Right here, you can click on that. That's I think that's a video or a Thinkific topic on that, but you can find information in the help files on those as well. Okay. Okay, so recurring Church Windows provides accounting, notably provides recurring transactions that can be set up and saved and reused as needed. Okay. The first thing that I like to make sure that and they show up in a variety of places in accounting, right? The one that goes in, when we go into enter bills, right up here in the upper right-hand corner, let me get out my drawing tool right here, recurring transactions. That is where that appears everywhere in accounting when you're going into the transactions that they're available for. So bills, you can set up recurring transactions. Okay. When I go into, say, enter income, right up here, recurring transactions. All right. Journal entry transactions I can set up as recurring as well, right here, recurring transactions in the upper right, okay? Transfer transactions, recurring transactions, right in the upper right up there, okay? That's pretty much it for transactions. I think you can set up maybe even recurring accounts receivable entries as well. You cannot set up recurring payment transactions, all right? So if I go into pay bills, we notice no recurring transactions in the upper right. All right. Why that is, I'm not entirely sure. It's just simply how our developers designed the pay bills function window. It typically, I think probably it's as a result of the idea that payments may not be as a result of a bill per se. They could be, but they involve a bill transaction many times. And so they're basically saying difficult to set up recurring payments when there's another transaction involved, namely bills, normally, not always, but most of the time. Okay, but that's the one exception. Essentially, recurring transactions are a framework or a structure of a transaction that can be selected to reuse again and again and again over and over and over again. Okay, the accounts that you're choosing may be the same, expense accounts, vendors, any of the accounts. The amount may even be the same every time, but doesn't have to be. Okay, the one thing that I get questions on in terms of recurring transactions all the time is will the software post the recurring transactions automatically? And the simple answer to that is no. The software never posts anything to any transactions to the database without a user clicking post on it, ever. Okay, so there's no way for a recurring transaction to systematically or automatically post on a given date throughout the month. Now that's an interesting idea for a future version or release of Church Windows. But at this point, there's nothing in the software that permits us to post anything to the software automatically based on a date. Excuse me. So if we go back into enter bills, okay, this is the one where I think I see probably this used more than anything else, albeit there's useful functionality in it everywhere. If you have regular transactions that you're paying to the same vendor, charging the same expense accounts, even if the amounts change, folks, I would set them up as recurring transactions, right? So the reason why I would do this is for three different reasons. Much like we recommend transferring donations into accounting if you own both modules, is accuracy, integrity, and speed. Those are the three reasons why recurring transactions can be beneficial. Okay, so when we go into recurring bill transactions, we can clearly see here we've got several set up. Telephone bill, internet bill, church gas bill, electric, water bill, insurance, worship supplies. These are all previously created recurring transactions. We notice some have fixed amounts and entered amounts. Other ones like water bill and worship supplies have just $1 entered. Why? Because they require that I have at least something in the amount Whether that amount changes or not doesn't matter. It just requires that I have something entered in the amount for that, okay? When we want to set up a recurring transaction, I'm now on page 8 into 9 on that A202 workbook pages, we simply click Create New in the upper left corner. Let me get my highlighter. Again, right up here, Create New. That's the same for all of the transaction types. Whether it's recurring journal entries or income, there's a Create New, Edit Selected, and Delete Selected. So when I click Create New, it opens up a new bill transaction here for me and allows me to set up and enter a description for that. Okay, so if I want to, I can say put in, I'm trying to figure out if I can figure out something here, something I would do for that. So city florist, so we're going to do flower bill. Okay, and we might do this. We might have an agreement with the flower company to do the flower shop to do monthly payments on those, and we're going to choose city florist. Okay, I can enter optional transaction comments. Here I can choose one expense account or I can choose multiples. It's entirely up to me. Okay, since my monthly florist bill changes monthly, I'm just simply going to put $1 in there. Okay, and then simply click Save Transaction. And notice it now adds it to my list at the bottom of my recurring bills that I can bring up and pay every month. Okay, so by doing this, what I've done is I've said I'm selecting this vendor and this expense account every time. And if the amount doesn't change, I could enter the amount as well, and it'll come up with the same amount every single time. So again, I don't have to reselect any of the accounts in the transaction. I don't have to enter any of the amount, even if I don't want to, or I can, and I'm going to walk you through how to do that momentarily. Okay. And I can even put in comments that are part of that as well. So when I want to, let's say I go, oh, I do want to enter some comments in that recurring bill that I want to copy and paste in there. I just simply click on the particular bill. I'm going to collapse that down. And now I'm going to go up to the Edit Selected button right up here. Okay. So if I click on now Edit Selected on that, it now reopens the Create Recurring Bill transaction just where I was before and allows me to go, oh, okay, I'm going to enter, say, monthly flower bill or florist bill. Okay, and now when I save my transactions, now that monthly florist bill will come in and that'll just paste into the comments of the transaction every time, even though the amount may be changing. Okay. So that's how you edit that. So if I click on a bill and click Edit Selected, it allows me to change anything about it, folks. The description, the frequency, the vendor, comments, the expense accounts, the accounts that I'm involved with, doesn't matter. I can edit anything about this. And then just simply click Save, and it's now saved my changes. If I want to delete a recurring transaction, I simply come into the window and simply click Delete Selected. And it says the following. Okay. Yeah, and it's basically saying I've used this in creating transactions in the past. Okay, am I sure I want to delete it? All I'm doing, I'm not deleting any transactions, folks. All I'm doing is deleting the recurring transaction, the structure of the framework, nothing more. So I go, ooh, maybe I don't. So I can click no on that and that won't remove that, okay? All right, so we've got about 8 minutes here left. I want to make sure I'm not missing something here. So another advantage of, and I will come in here and delete a recurring transaction here in a minute, folks, when I choose to do that. But I'm not going to do it yet because there's a reason why I'm here. All right, so whenever I want to use a recurring transaction, in this case bills, and again, folks, it functions the same exact way everywhere we go. When I want to use them, I can come in here and I can just click on one, okay, and click Paste here in the upper right-hand corner, right here, the Paste button, right? So then when I click on Paste, it now takes me back to my Enter Bills window with that bill now down here at the bottom. So if I go, oh, well, that amount needs to be changed or the date occurred, it's going to default to today's date because that's the date I'm doing it. But if I go, oh, I want to make that a different date, I simply highlight it and click Edit or double click on it. It moves it up to the top and I can change anything about this transaction I want here. So let's say I want the date to be, say, next week. So I do the 17th. Okay, and I just click Done, Add to Batch, and I've now added it, but everything else remains the same. So I can now go back to recurring transactions, and I could. Now I can select multiple entries here, folks, okay? But here's a way that I might be better off to do that with, okay? Notice down here at the bottom, we've got this feature called Select Rows by Category. Well, I can categorize transactions, recurring transactions, so I don't have to select them. I can use Control or Shift and randomly select them if I want, all right? That's one way that I can do that. But if I can also categorize them, so if I do here, Edit Categories, I don't have anything in the list right now. Everything's uncategorized. If I do Edit Categories, I can create one, say, called Utilities, okay? Click Add. And then OK. So now here I can simply go down my list of my monthly utilities, okay, and I can put all of my utilities together into one and categorize those, okay. So now when I go select rows by category, should work here. It's not working yet. Hang on, I've got to close out, I believe, and come back in here. There they are. Okay, so now, there it is. So there's utilities. So all I had to do was close out of recurring and refresh it, essentially. So if I now check utilities under select rows by category and then click OK, notice it now highlights those 4 transactions. Okay, so if I now click paste, it's now going to put them all in there. Oh, it's already saying I already added telephone. That was my bad. Have already been used in this batch and will not be used again. So it's not going to add telephone to my batch, my unposted bills batch. So I'm going to click OK on that, and here they are now all at the very bottom, okay? So same thing. I can go, oh, I've got my big city utilities bill, but I'm now going to enter an amount because it's not $1. So I can now double click on it, come back up here at the top. I can put in whatever my, water bill is for that particular month, and then simply click Done, Add to Batch. Or I can edit the dates. Notice it did default to the 17th with those other recurring transactions. So if I want to change those, I would have to do them independent of one another, okay? But I can do that. And that's, but again, what I'm not doing, folks, is possibly making a mistake by selecting the wrong vendor, perhaps selecting the wrong expense account, perhaps entering the wrong amount, what have you, putting in, incorrect comments. And I'm saving myself time by not having to reselect all of those. Okay, so then from this point, I can go ahead and either post and pay these bills just like I would normally. All right, folks, I would use recurring transactions anytime I possibly could. Anytime. Set them up and use them. They will save you time. All right, so, again, it's a time saver. It maintains accuracy, integrity, and speed. It speeds things up because you don't have to reselect things. Okay, so again, and you're going to see that we've got those everywhere. Now I can either save my batch or post it and do whatever. And again, all of my recurring transactions are there, but utilize these. So just by way of reminder, under enter income, do I have anything? I think I do. Rental income, interest on investments, absolutely. Okay. When I go up into other and journal entry transactions, I think I've got some recurring there. Let me choose a date. Recurring, yep. Prepaid pledges. My church chooses to amortize those, so I take the annual amount, divide it by 12, put that into the amount, and I come in and repost my journal entry to move my prepaid pledges monthly over to the income account. Again, interest on earnings or what have you. So utilize these whenever or wherever possible, folks. Recurring transactions will save you time and help, okay? Nothing posts automatically, but they will help. So I'm going to leave our topic for today there.